Have you ever thought of starting your own TV show? I got to tell you, it's a hell of a lot of fun. My next guest today, she's in this book, Action Takers Who Get Shit Done, and Teresa Cundiff is an expert in this field. She's been doing this for a while. And your chapter, Teresa, in this book talks about starting a TV show and how it's not for sissies. So first, I want to welcome you to the show, to the book, for being part of this. And here we are on the launch day. How does it feel to be here finally? Like here we are on the launch day.
Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm so grateful that you extended the offer to be in Action Takers Who Get Shit Done. I am super excited that launch day is here. And I can't wait for everyone to read all of the stories. And I'm looking forward to reading everyone's stories as well.
What was it about this title, Teresa? Because when we talked originally, I mentioned the title, and you weren't really sure like how you could participate in this book.
Yeah.
And then when you submitted your chapter, I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. It was exactly what we were looking for. So what was it about the book that made you finally decide, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do it?
Well, it was the discussion that you and I had to help me sort of brainstorm what I could do. I mean, because I'm a military spouse and I'm a mom of two boys. So I've gotten a few things done in the course of my lifetime. But when it came to trying to think about something to put, on paper, I was a little stumped, and you helped me break through that because you're like, oh my gosh, you stood up a TV show. Talk about that. And I was like, ding. So that's what I did. And it was a little cathartic because I was like, oh my gosh, I did all that. Because when you start making lists, I think you forget, because now it's been since 2020 that I stood the show up. So I kind of had forgotten, or sort of, I don't know, it wasn't at the fore of my brain to remember all the things that I had to do. But it was a little time consuming. And maybe my 10 tips in the book can help someone stand up their own TV show.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's a lot of fun, isn't it?
It really is. When I sit down here at my desk to shoot another episode, I use StreamYard as well. I am just literally filled with joy, because it just brings me so much happiness, because I love to read, and I love that I'm highlighting the authors that have come into my world that I talk to, and they're like, I have a book. And it's been incredible, and just a great way to connect with people and build friendships.
It really is. And a reminder, like, I got to get on your show for my newest book. Do it because you're scared. Like, oh my gosh.
Right. That's right. And I did just get the Kindle on that, but I'd like the paperback on it, because I notate all the way through the books when I read them. And I read every book from cover to cover. And I'm pretty sure that not everyone who interviews people about their books has read the book from cover to cover, but I read the whole thing, and it really makes for a much better in-depth interview.
And I love that. So we're talking about the book, Action Takers Who Get Shit Done. And you can get your copy at actiontakerspublishing.com/GSD. Go ahead over there. Not only can you get a copy of the book, but also a lot of our authors have given away free gifts. So go cash in on those free gifts and connect with those authors over there, because every single chapter in this book, my whole vision of it was that it could be like a manual. Like if you're having a challenge with something, you could go to this book, you can find something that can help you and move forward with that issue. So with what Teresa does is that she has her show. It's called Teresa Talks. And you want to tell us a little bit about Teresa Talks? And I'll put on the screen, you can go to teresatalkstv.com to find out more information. But tell us about Teresa Talks. You touched on it just a little bit, but tell us about it. And what I really want to know is, what made you decide to do it? Because we have ideas all the time, but what is it that makes somebody actually implement and get shit done?
Well, I'll answer the second one first. I tell the story of how it sort of all began in the book. So a friend of mine was standing up her own TV show. I was so excited for her that I was tapping out a Facebook Messenger message to send to her, and I saw that it said she was active now, and I was like, I'll just call her. And so we had a fabulous conversation, and she's like, oh my gosh, you should have a show too. And so at 3 o'clock that afternoon, I was on the phone with the woman who was bringing all those projects together, and it was I was like, well, I'm a professional proofreader, whereas my friend and her husband were quite prolific online. And I was like, I don't really know how you spin proofreading into a TV show, but after some brainstorming with like my love of books and being fascinated with people who write a whole book like yourself, that's where it came from. And I actually came up with the title of the show because I'm a wordy nerd. That's the name of my media company, and I love me some alliteration. So Teresa Talks, it was. And the show is the tagline is, I have inspiring conversations with authors, published and unpublished, because I wanted to have a show, well, which basically meant I could talk to anybody I wanted to talk to.
Right.
But I feel like everyone has at least one book inside of them. And if nothing else, it's their memoir, to write down their life story, to leave that as a legacy. So I was like, I'm not going to discriminate against somebody just because they haven't actually published a book. And so when I have them on, I just am their biggest cheerleader. I've done only two interviews with unpublished authors, because I have been blessed to meet a lot of people who are in a lot of books. And and everybody always wants to talk about their books. So it's really quite easy to do.
And that's a great point that you made there. You said everybody wants to talk about their books, but it's the point of getting to writing the book that not everybody wants to share their story. But if you've already written a book, this means that you've probably gone through some sort of journey in your life where you're like, I want to get my message out there, whether it's a nonfiction or if it's a fiction book, I want to get a message out there. I want to get a story out there. Mm-hmm. And so when we get to that point that we've actually published a book, this means that we've done some work to know that we want to get our message out there in one way, shape, or form. And that's what you do, is you spotlight them. You put them in the spotlight and you say, let's talk about it. Your show's an hour, right? Is that correct?
It is an hour. The whole hour is devoted to the author, and it flies by like that. There's just a couple of commercial breaks throughout the hour. And then at the end, I do what I call a lightning quiz, because I realized from the jump.
And that's scary, by the way.
It's not. You know all the answers. Because I thought it could be that even though the format is PG-13, to G, that there might be some topics that we talk about that are kind of heavy. And so I thought, let's do something fun at the end. And so I came up with a list of 20 questions. And for that particular season of 11 episodes, I asked all of those authors those same questions. And it's a lot of fun and a great way to close out the show, I think, with a lot of laughter and happiness.
Well, what's cool about that, have you done anything where you did, like, here's this one question, here's everybody's answer, where you do like a video on that?
But I haven't done it yet, but I should do, because some of them, one person I asked her, I go, what's your favorite holiday? And she's like, my birthday. And that just made me laugh so hard, because, you're expecting to hear like Christmas or Thanksgiving or something, but she's like, my birthday. And I was like,
I love that
attitude.
That's a fun answer.
Yeah.
Well, so people can connect with you at teresatalkstv.com. They can go find your show. If somebody is listening right now who is an author, which I'm hoping we got some authors listening right now, since we're talking about a book. How can they connect with you to apply to be a speaker, to be interviewed on your show?
Well, when they open the website, there's a place where they can put in their information to like join my community. But the email address that goes with the website is Teresa@teresatalkstv.com. So they can certainly reach out to me that way, and I'd be super happy and excited to talk to them.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Take her up on it. Opportunities are showing themselves in front of you right now in this very moment. So take Teresa up on that opportunity. Now, Teresa, the title of your chapter is 10 Tips for Launching a Successful TV Show It's not for sissies, and boy, is it not for sissies. And so why don't you share with us, like, give us one, if you can remember off the top of your head, one of those. I'm sure you remember
Well,
all 50 of them.
I printed out my chapter because I'm a good
Yay!
student.
Yes, you are.
And that's what
Give us just one sneak peek.
let's see. Well, I'll give you a couple if I may. You need a proper camera and microphone if you're really serious about it. And then I created my logo in Canva. So I needed the StreamYard Pro and I needed the Canva Pro. So those are just some things that you begin to learn about what it is that the technology pieces you have to pull together to put things in place, for your logo to be on the screen and stuff like that. So, and I'm a singer, so I produced and co-wrote my theme song. And so it's up on iTunes right now. It's called
Go listen. I'm sorry, what's it called? I interrupted you.
Oh, We Will Fly.
Go listen to it. It's really good. Great job. I love that. Awesome.
So well, I was to say that was like an added step for me because I am a singer and I wanted to do that for my own show. Other people are probably happy to just, get some music and put their intro to it, but I'm singing to my intro and outro.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of fun because you utilized talent in another area and incorporated it into this. And why not do that? Teresa, we're almost out of time. So I have my final question for you, and that is, what would you like the readers to take away from reading this book? That
you can do anything that you put your mind to, because for this particular thing, and it connected me to people who are smarter than me in the areas where I needed support. So know in your mind that you can do it, and through your networking system probably that you already have in place, a lot of your friends and connections can do lots of things and can assist you and help you along the way and make it not feel so daunting. And seems to be the theme of today, have fun while you're doing it. Because when I called my music producer, I hadn't talked to him in quite some time. And so it was great to be back in the studio with him and spending time, because he's a real genius also.
That's awesome. And I'm going to ask you one final question, because that was the final question, but I got one final question. For you, during this process of you starting your own TV show, were there any fears that came up? And if so, like, how did you, okay, I see there must have been at least one. Yeah. How did you make yourself do it anyway? Do it because you're scared. That's the title of my book. Do it because you're scared.
Well, it wasn't a trepidatious kind of fearfulness. It was like the exciting, I'm going to do this and I'm going to figure out how to do it, but I am scared, but I know people who can help me. So I'm going to call on them and go from there. So it kind of like took a village, but you really, as it's your TV show, my TV show, you have to be the driving force behind all of it, because you're a director, you're the host, you're the producer. You pull all the elements together, and I'm able to go through the whole thing on StreamYard without any edits, because I've just got all of my clicks down to get the commercials in and all of that. So it does have a lot of moving parts, but it's so very rewarding.
It really is. Yeah. Thank you so much, Teresa, for being part of this book, for being part of my life. You're an amazing woman. I just love being connected with you. Go get your copy at actiontakerspublishing.com/GSD. And I know I cut you off again. So what were you going to say?
I just said I love you too.
I can't wait till someday we will meet in person. Someday that will happen. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Go get a copy of that book. And we got many more interviews coming up today. So please, go tune in and see what we're all about and what all the authors are about, and go cash in on those free gifts. Thanks so much, Teresa, for being here.
Thank you, Linda.
One of the things that I've personally found from my experience of working with Action Takers Publishing is that I've walked away with more friends than I had before, because of the relationship that you build with the authors while working in an anthology. I think it's an amazing project to be able to get published, it's a fantastic way to get published the first time. And I've almost seen people who get hooked on doing anthologies, because once that bug is bitten, you feel like you can release more and more and more and more stories. And Linda's got a bunch of titles that I think resonates with a lot of us who live in the real world.